Introducing Passport Bros, your ultimate travel companion. Download the app for free and embark on a journey where your adventures not only become unforgettable memories, but also opportunities to earn. With Passport Bros, your travel content is more than just photos and videos. It's your ticket to a fully monetizable network of like-minded adventurers. Imagine making money from your travel stories. Post videos, share your experiences, and let the world be a part of your journey. But that's not all. Connect with travelers from around the globe, join co-ed groups, and make lasting friendships, perhaps even with foreign women who share your passion for exploration. And here's the best part. Store your earnings securely in your Passport Bros wallet. No hassle, no worries. Just seamless transactions wherever your travels take you. Looking for the best local experiences? Passport Bros has got you covered. Get personalized recommendations for tour guides, rentals, and the hottest clubs in town. Did we mention the app is absolutely free to download? That's right. Your passport to a world of adventure is just a click away. And here's the cherry on top. With Passport Bros, you can make money while exploring new places. Turn your passion for travel into a source of income, right from your mobile device. So, what are you waiting for? Download Passport Bros now, share your journey, connect with fellow explorers, and let the adventure begin.
Download now on the App Store and Google Play.
All right, family, we are live. Welcome to another show. It's your man BMT in the building. Shout out to all the Passport Bros. All right, we got a really important topic for you guys today, man. We're going to be discussing cost of living or cost associated with being a Passport Bro. I want to give a shout out to my man Malcolm. Malcolm the mayor. I don't know what name he's going by now, but he was the one that inspired this show because a lot of guys are looking to move overseas in 2024 and beyond, right? So we want to kind of give some costs associated with that because I know a lot of guys have questions, all right? So usually this would be somewhat of a consultation, but we're going to look out for you. I'm going to bring my man Danny on, and we're going to try to do some cost comparisons on living overseas, all right? So let me give a shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 31 in the room already. Shout out to my man Good Time Grego in the building, all right? Azrael's in the building, the mayor, Music and Travels in the building. Okay, that's what the name you're going by now. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. All right. Said janky Wi-Fi. All right, shout out my man Razor Rays in the building. Salute to you, BMT, the first super chat of the day. $2 super chat. Man, I really appreciate that, man. Shout out to you, man. I had a great time hanging out with you in Punta Cana. All right. Shout out to Punta Cana. I had a real good time, man. We gotta do a story time about what happened out there too, Rays. All right. It was on me. It wasn't nothing Rays did. It was definitely on me. So I'm gonna come on your show and do a story time about that. So shout out my man Razor Rays in the building. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and before I bring Danny on, by the way, guys, make sure if you haven't downloaded the app, download the Passport Bros app, but also join the private Facebook group, man. A lot of guys enjoy the Facebook group. It get a little dusty in there sometimes, but make sure to join the Facebook group, man. It's pretty hilarious when you think about it. It's like that locker room feel. So this is the original Facebook group real quick, man. We had almost approaching 25,000 members. Guys, make sure to join that, man. Of course, if you want like the real unfiltered content, you can definitely download the Passport Bros app. Now, speaking of the app, we had a major update today, guys. A major update today. We're still getting out a few kinks and a few bugs, so please be patient with us. You know how it is after an update. I want to give a shout out to my developers. They was working all night. We got Reels right now. We got a few more other features that we're flushing out, better live and all that good stuff, man. So we're constantly coming up and upgrading new features to improve the Passport Bros community. All right. So make sure to check that out. And I want to give a shout out to all my developers and my tech team, also the admin team for the private Facebook group Passport Bros. All right. Give a shout out to everybody. All right. We got another super chat here. And I'm going to go ahead and bring on my man, Danny Flight Madness. Forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong, brother. Osama Abdu. $2 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. BMT, are you dropping a Passport Bro rap album? Word? No, bro. I'm not a rapper. I won't be rapping. at all. But you know what? It is a whole bunch of Passport Bro songs out there, but I still think that J. Cole artist, and his name escapes me, so I apologize. But he did the best Passport Bro song, in my opinion. All right, so let me go ahead and bring on my man Flight. Oh, you already there, bro? What I'm talking about? What's going on, Flight?
Hey man, it's funny you bring up that J. Cole Passport Bro thing. I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, it's probably past the 1 year anniversary that song came out, right?
Right, right,
Yeah,
right. You know,
yeah, man.
okay. The artist name is Bass. Bass. The artist name is Bass. Shout out to Bass, man, for representing for the Passport Bros. What up, wonderful travels in the building? What's good? What's good, man? All right. All right, so Danny, what's going on, man? Let's talk about some of these costs associated with being a Passport Bro.
Okay, man. Yeah, I mean it's a pretty interesting topic, guys. So I just got back from Thailand last night. I didn't really do too much posting, but I was in Thailand for like a week
Mm-hmm.
and just having a good time. And like there's some cost associated with bouncing between countries, right? It's like China is my home base country for right now, and I'm bouncing between China and Thailand. So like when we think about the cost of being a passport bro, some people can live overseas long term, and some guys just bounce between the countries when they got time. Um, and yeah, so like those are some ideas of like what we're kind of aiming at. We got like different costs associated with okay, you want to live over here, and okay, you want to travel to this country temporarily. So that's kind of what we're gonna dive into today. I can't hear you. You're muted, BMT.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I think it really depends on what region you're in the world, like what country, of course, because some things can be fairly cheaper overseas, but some things can be sometimes, some countries like the DR is kind of expensive. I think it's one of the most expensive countries in Latin America besides Panama, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if you want in the chat. But versus if you out there where you at, your cost of living is pretty low.
Definitely. Cost of living on this side of the world is very affordable, guys. It's really hard to beat Asia. Like I know we've been talking about Kazakhstan and like the crazy parts of Asia, but in general, it's like this part of the world it kind of gives you everything you want or everything I want anyway. It's like I'm pretty satisfied over here. But yeah, I was in Thailand and I was splurging off a little bit, splurging off some cash. And even with that, I was spending a good amount of money going on dates and stuff. And I think total, like if we're talking about like hotel, flight, transportation, maybe $700 for like, a week trip. Then that's hotels and like transportation. Like, that's $700. That's not really like some of y'all plane tickets. Some of the plane tickets you guys are buying cost over $700, So for me, like a whole vacation for $700, it's hard to beat, man.
Right. And we're going to discuss that a bit later also about flight costs. That's one of the big costs for passport bros, especially if you're a passport bro that be traveling consistently. Like you got to take that into account. Some guys use credit cards. I think in certain cases they have like these companies that let you do like a payment plan. I don't know if you ever heard of that, Danny. Like they let you put down the money. Well, I think they buy the ticket for you, right? And then you can pay on the ticket. Like you have like a deadline to pay the ticket off, basically. And they just charge a very little interest. It's actually a sister that came up with that concept. I forgot the name of the company. But I think at one point they were just doing domestic flights. I'm not sure they're doing international flights, but at the same time, if you have to finance your ticket, it might not be in your budget to really be traveling at that point. If you got to finance like a $500 ticket, all right. I want to give a shout out to my man Green Lantern 81 in the building. Shout out to you. Says salute to your guest, Danny BMT. I cop my t-shirt, man. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate that. Good looking, man. Appreciate that. Also, we're setting up a system, a nonprofit. We've been working on this nonprofit for quite some time. we're going to get a portion of the app proceeds as well as the merchandise to the nonprofit in order to help underprivileged communities around the world. We've been working on this some time. We've actually gone out to some of these locations. We helped build a school out there in Colombia. So we've been doing things. We've been putting work. I don't really post a lot in the Facebook groups or anything like that, but you will see guys giving back to these communities all over the world, man. We want to really set a system up where, guys can easily, donate money and get tax breaks as well. So we're working on that. The nonprofit should be ready soon. All right. So give a shout out to that and appreciate this. You copying the shirt, Green Lantern. All right. So let's give us some more cost of living, Danny. We know we got the big one, which would be, matter of fact, let's start from the very get-go. I guess you want to say flight would be a part of it, right?
Yeah. So it depends where you're going, right? So it seems like the majority of guys, they stick to South America, which maybe is comparable to me living in China and going to Thailand. Like, I guess like flight tickets from like America to Colombia or something, maybe only a couple $100 round trip. Correct. So yeah, that's pretty comparable. I think to the main countries that guys want to go to, like guys like us want to go to, generally speaking, those countries are not too expensive and they aren't that difficult to travel to. Now, if you're trying to go to someplace like Africa or something, I've heard the prices there get pretty crazy. But generally speaking, for South America and Asia, traveling domestically inside of Asia or like between different Asian countries is super affordable for the most part. And probably the same thing for South America, right?
Generally speaking, yes. Like I can get to Rio for like $400-500. That's why I love San Domingo, because it's a perfect place for somebody like me to kind of jet out every 6-7 months. So I can go back to Colombia for less than $400, Brazil for about $4 to $5, maybe depending on how advanced I book the ticket. But yeah, generally speaking, around this little area of the world, it's pretty cheap to travel. And that's the cool thing. I think the only place that's expensive to travel within the continent is probably Africa, from what I heard. I heard traveling within Africa is like real expensive.
Yeah. And this information is good to know, guys, because say that you're living overseas and you're working remotely. I saw some guy post earlier. He was talking about remote jobs, how it's difficult to find remote jobs that pay more than $15 an hour. And yeah, so $15 an hour, that may or may not be enough depending on where you live. There are local people, like in my city in China, there are a lot of people who survive on like $20 a day. Like I know university educated people who are surviving on $20 a day. Now you might not want to live that way, but living on $20 a day overseas might be better than the life you're living in America. So keep that in mind. If I was really, really hurting to get outside of America and I found a remote job that was paying me $15 an hour, and I could make, I don't know, like working like I don't know how many hours a day. If I can make like a certain amount of dollars per day, I might take that deal just so it could allow me to get outside of America. So that's the reason this conversation is pretty important, because guys sometimes don't have a realistic estimate of how much money it takes to live overseas. Sometimes you overestimate the amount, like, oh man, I gotta have a ton of money. Or sometimes you maybe aren't paying, you think it's too low. So I think this kind of conversation is good for you to pay attention to, because it can just give you a realistic estimate, especially for you guys who are looking to relocate in the next year. Like if your New Year's resolution is to like get out of America, I know there are a lot of guys who have that kind of resolution, right? Like in 2025, I'm getting out of America. Like I see guys post that kind of stuff all the time, and you need to know your numbers if you want to do that.
That's very true. That is very true. Hold on, where we at? So I guess we'll go for housing. We discussed that a little bit. I know where I'm at is pretty goddamn expensive actually. But you say in China, where the area you at is pretty cheap.
Yeah, man. I mean, my rent's pretty good, man. Like how much I sent you a screenshot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me see how much. Let me check. I pay 3,100 yuan a month,
Mm-hmm.
which is about $440. So
That's pretty good.
I pay about $440 a month, and I got a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, decent kitchen, living room right here in the city center where all the action is. So it's like I'm not really missing anything over here. Like for me, I hate taking taxis, so I like being in the city center to where I can easily just like, we got bicycles here in China. Like, you can rent bicycles. So when I want to go to the club, I just ride a bicycle. It's right, like the nightclub area is right down the street, y'all. So it's pretty convenient. Just ride a bicycle. I'll be there in like 5 minutes, and it's good exercise. But yeah, housing is pretty big. You want to make sure like the place you got is comfortable. That way, when you're bringing the ladies over, they're not like, they hey, well, it's a great place. You don't want to live in a crappy spot. So and for China or Asia specifically, prices can vary a lot, but it seems pretty clear that outside of Japan, you can get pretty decent housing for around $500 a month. It seems like in most of Asia, if you're spending $500 a month on housing, you can get some pretty decent quality. You won't be living like a homeless person.
Right. And I probably pay. Actually, I do pay double that. I pay double that amount. And what you have to account for, especially when you guys are moving to these countries, is a lot of times. And I don't know if it's like that in China, but I know it's like this in Thailand too. That you have to pay 2 times the rent plus the deposit. Right. So you got to pay first month, last month, and then a deposit. At least that's how it is here in DR. So, for example, if the rent is $800 a month, then in order to move in, you have to pay $2,400.
Mm.
Right?
Wait, does that include like the realtor fee? Like, do you guys use realtors in like Thailand? Did you go like, how do you like go through a realtor? Or do you like use a website? Like, what do you do?
Okay, you have options for that. At least here in the DR, they have like a little lawyer fee, which some of them do, some of them don't. And usually, just around the same amount of money is a deposit. Personally, I refuse to pay a lawyer fee because I'm like, it's a simple 1-page contract. I don't think we need a lawyer because they can't really hold you accountable. Like if you just leave, you're gonna lose the deposit. There's nothing they can do. Like they're not reporting you back to your American credits. You see what I'm saying? So it's no point. That's the purpose of having such a hefty deposits, right? Now the tricky thing here in DR is they don't be want to give you your deposit back half the time, unless it's like a hotel, a parktail, or something like that, and you know the owner, you cool with the owners. A lot of times they don't want to get your deposit back. They'll say, "Oh, you just stayed your last 2 months for free," or something like that. Like you don't have to pay your rent; we'll take it out from your deposit. So if you actually want your deposit back, you probably have to tell them ahead of time, like, "Hey, I'm not going to be here, or my lease ends, and I'm gonna want my deposit back. I'm gonna go ahead and pay, but I'm gonna want my deposit back." So they try to finagle it. Now in Thailand, it's real simple. It's actually very simple. A lot of times you can walk into the building. You can ask the front desk, "Hey, you have any apartments available?" They usually have like a little office right there, and they'll show you, different apartments. And depending on the owner, they might want one time the rent, like a deposit, or they might want two. A lot of times they want two if you're a foreigner because they know that the good thing about Thailand is they give you a deposit back. Everything is legitimate out there. You know what I'm saying? DR is a little, it's a little sketchy. It's actually more expensive too. But yeah, that's one thing that throws guys off guard. And I told a guy one time, I said, "Hey man, the deposits, it's like some of them will work with you, some of them won't." I'm talking about in Thailand. Here, they don't work with you really at all. You're going to have to pay the 2 months deposit and all that bullshit. But in Thailand, some of them will work with you. If you don't want to pay it, say you kind of like not really sure, then I suggest getting an Airbnb for like a couple of months just to see what type of neighborhood or area you want to be in. Because in Pattaya, you have areas that are ethnic, not ethnic based. What I want to say, like ethnic heavy areas, meaning you got areas that are going to be a large populace of Indians, right? Then you got areas where there's going to be a large populace of Russians, like you in the John TM area, right? And the crazy thing about the Russian buildings is when you look on the outside, it's this beautiful, immaculate looking building. You're like, oh, this apartment going to be fire, or fly. But when you get inside the apartment, Danny, it's like a little small little hub. Like it's real small. It's like not well put, not well built and stuff like that. So you definitely want to sometimes kind of do your research before you decide to put down a deposit. My main suggestion about being overseas is, unless you know somebody and you know that they're like have a certain standard, like say your brother or your best friend or whoever, they like a certain standard, which means you're going to like your standard, which I call the American standard. Unless you do it like that, I suggest getting the Airbnb first. Because listen, the pictures are very deceiving. Even the videos are super deceiving, bro. Like I know a girl that leases apartments, and I go see the apartment, and I'm like, yo, you took the perfect angle to make this apartment look almost twice as big as what it is. And she just laughs. I'm like, yeah, you just got that. You stuck yourself right in the corner and kneeled down and put the phone up, have a perfect angle to make it look bigger than what it is. Shout out, man, Ash L. He says, Taylor Made Dreams has been having problems in Thailand with renting apartments. He made a couple of videos, crazy situations. That's interesting. I did hear something about that as well. See, I hadn't had any, I've been pretty lucky, man. I haven't had any major issues besides the first time I moved to Colombia, and that was more of an Airbnb, but I haven't had any issues whatsoever. But I've noticed a lot of people have had issues with their apartments. I had a friend of mine that booked the apartment for a month out there in Brazil, in Rio, and the way the apartment was, the dimensions of the apartment, because there's like a corner apartment, it was like when you walk in, you almost get vertigo because it's like this triangular shape. Matter of fact, my man Traversity, he was actually and I remember Traversity, he kept coming over my apartment. I'm just like, bro, why you always over here? Like, it's all good, but I'm like, bro, your apartment like right, literally like up the street. And he was like, man, my apartment messed up, man. They built that shit weird. So we went over there. I was like, oh yeah, this is weird. Like the closet, it's like this when you walk in. The bathroom is like this when you walk in. So you got to be careful, man. That's one of the biggest things I think that, and people say the dumbest shit ever when it comes to consultations. And I'm not trying to promote consultations for myself or anybody else, but I'm just sitting here like, consultations are part of the world, like business, right? I pay for consultations. People pay for consultations, right? Especially anything dealing with legal services or anything like that. You want to pay a consultation before you get into a certain business or something that you don't know about. That's the quickest way to do it. And if you're planning on moving overseas, I think that would be one of the most important consultations you would have to get. You can wing it. Don't get me wrong, you can wing it, because 90% of my consultations are guys trying to live overseas. And people be thinking like, oh, you got consultation of this. I don't even know consultation is just this. I'm like, that's fine. But you do have, some information that you might need. For example, you plan on moving to Thailand, and then you have no idea what the healthcare is like, or how you gonna get healthcare, or who to sign up with. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't know where the hospital is at. You don't know the emergency numbers. You don't know where to shop at, where it's cheap. Like all types of little things that can help you retrieve that money back if you book a consultation with somebody like an Andre or something. So that's another thing. So BMT is my favorite passport, bro. Man, I appreciate that, man. Shout out to you, CJ, aka. All right.
Hey, yeah. So we were talking about like the initial fee for the apartment. In China is even more, man. So like in China, I pay 3 months rent up front, 3 months, and I gotta pay like the realtor fee to like the real estate agent. That's 1 month, and then I pay a deposit. So like you end up paying like 5 months of rent up front. But that idea that you had of like like the person will say, hey, I won't give you the deposit back, you just have the last month free. That's a pretty good idea, actually. I might do that myself. I didn't think of that. That way I can just say, hey, like I already paid you for the last month, whatever. I never thought about that. But yeah, man. Yeah, it can probably China's on the more expensive end. I'm not sure about Japan, but yeah, man.
So you said 5 months? How many months up front?
It's a total of 5 months. So I paid 3 months of rent, and
Whoa.
I got to pay the realtor fee.
Mm-hmm.
The realtor takes 1 month of whatever the apartment fee is, and then I got to pay 1 month deposit to 1 month deposit to the landlord. So you end up paying the landlord 4 months of rent.
Damn, that's a lot, bro. See, these are things that guys need to be aware of before they move. They come on out there, bro. They come out there thinking like, oh, Danny said the apartment is $400 a month. And they get out there, it's like, yeah, but it's how much is that? 4, 8, 12, $1,600 to move in, basically. No, actually,
Yeah.
almost $1,800 to move in.
Yeah. Someone asked a question, is that the foreigner deposit rate? No, that's just like the normal, everybody pays that here. You might be able to negotiate with your landlord, but really, like, Chinese people are pretty serious about money, y'all. It's like you can't play with their money. They want that. So yeah, man. But you can also get kind of sketchy, like you said, like you might have a bad apartment situation. So it really helps if you like scout the area out a little bit. Both apartments that I moved into, I kind of was pretty familiar with the area before I moved there, so I kind of could picture what my daily life would be like there, and it was just a matter of finding the right apartment that could fit me.
Same here, man. I was lucky enough to have a friend here who lived in a certain area. And when I got to San Domingo, I actually loved the area that he was in. I'm like, yo, I want to stay around this area. Because I like staying by the Malecon, like having that access, seeing the ocean every day, being by the college, being by the school. That's a whole nother plus, if you know what I mean. So, like I'm right by the dorms and all that good stuff. So location definitely matters. Let's talk about a little bit about utilities too, though. I don't know, how much do your utilities average run? Mine run about $60 a month for everything. So that's electricity, water. Yes, mine's run about $60 a month.
Good one. Okay, so for me, utilities, it's about the same, man. It's not expensive, man. It's really not. Let's do like during winter, right? During winter, you're gonna be running like the AC and a lot more. So let me see. Yeah, 60, maybe at the highest during winter, maybe like $85 a month, maybe 100 max. But even then, man, doubt it. I say about $85, the highest I ever paid per month. If we're talking about utilities, and that's water, electricity, heating, etc.
Okay, I want to give a shout out to my man At Your Wife's House All Day. Man, I love that name. BMC Flight, Passport Bro app gang and chat. What's good, my Passport Bros? It's about to storm like crazy here in John TM. It's my little spot. But the clubs and streets still active. Patia don't stop. He was out there just recently, man. Bruce Lee says bacon, managed tomatoes. All right. Shout out to you, Bruce Lee. Travel time with Paul destroyed Danny yesterday. Hold on, you had a show yesterday?
I had what?
You had a show yesterday, or dudes were trolling you?
Oh, apparently that guy. I just clicked on his channel. He made a video about me. I didn't even know about it. He dropped a video about me yesterday, my Kazakhstan adventure. I didn't even know, man.
Okay.
He said I got destroyed. I didn't even know I got destroyed, man. I didn't know I'm like dead and buried now. I didn't have no idea, man. Surprised.
Man, if people would actually meet some of these people in person, these little trolls, these little drama YouTubers, man, you will lose all interest in what comes out their little mouth, man. They little dusty ass mouths, man. But we'll talk about that. We might do a little whole show on that, man. All right, so yeah, utilities can range. Now the thing is, it'd be like little times where you got to kind of watch the utilities, because I know when I was in Pattaya, I think they had a changing of the mayor, or I don't know if it was the mayor or some government official. And before he left, he like hiked everybody prices up, like triple, quadruple. And my tiger at the time was like, yeah, they do that when they about to leave or they lost the election or something like that. They'll hike up the prices so they can get a lot of money before they go. So little things like that. But the thing about overseas, man, is more likely utilities is going to be relatively low. And that's what I loved about Thailand more than anything, man. Like everything was at that time was super cheap. Now let's talk about transportation. Like I know you were saying earlier about you kind of like ride bikes for the most part and you able to walk everywhere. Do you think that it's worth being in a more expensive apartment that's in the mix than going to a cheaper apartment that you have to like get, I guess, taxis from?
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Especially if you're going to the nightclub like me, like I mean, I don't go to the nightclub as often anymore. But when I was nightclubbing heavy, like 4 or 5, 6 times a week, you want to have an apartment nearby when you bring girls from the club to your home. You don't really want the apartment too far away, man. But yeah, I really don't like taking taxis. But when I take taxis now, I took a taxi today just to go handle some business stuff. It costs like less than $2, $3 per taxi for like a 15-minute ride. Even oh yeah, in Kazakhstan, taxis were pretty cheap too, y'all. Everything I'm saying about China, I think it applies to Kazakhstan as well because the cost of living over there pretty low, y'all. Like it's like Kazakhstan really affordable, y'all. The plane ticket to get there is fairly pricey compared to other Asian countries, but when you're actually there, cost of living is really really good. So yeah, transportation is like not expensive, and they got like big subways around here. Like they got subways where you hop on there, you can like get around. I don't like taking the subway. I just prefer to take a taxi. That way I can be in the back. I can like sleep, or I can like do something productive. I don't like having to get on like the subway just to try to save a couple dollars. Just pay the $2 to the taxi, and like your time is money, man. So don't be waiting in line for a subway. Hop on there. Too crowded. I'm not into that.
Facts. I don't give a shot at my man Matthew Ramsey. He says real estate in Rio de Janeiro is a nightmare. It really is. I should have put out that video. As a matter of fact, that gives me an idea to actually put out a video because I went around Rio looking for different apartments. And Rio is dope, man. In certain little areas like Barra da Tijuca, you can get like your own apartment on like a little island, right? I think it's called Giaoi Island. It's right there. A lot of people don't know about it, but when you walk through a little street where like a little gas station that you get on like a little canoe, basically, a little with a motor in the back, and they ferry you over across the little river, and you can go to like different little buildings on these little different islands around. So that's really cool. And it was one that I was about to get for about $550 a month with like a one-time deposit. So it only been like $1,000 to move in and everything. But when I thought about it, I said, man, do I feel like getting on the ferry every time I come home? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I feel like being isolated? Because there's gonna be times where I'm like, okay, I gotta go to the store, I gotta go walk up the street. But I literally gotta go downstairs. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it up for you in this. Let me go ahead and pull it up while I'm thinking about it. I have to go downstairs, Danny, and basically wave over like a little ferry, and it's real cheap. I keep saying ferry. These little canoe boats, basically, with the boat motors on them. They'll come and they wave them down. It's a whole bunch of them everywhere, but you'll come and you'll hop in. They'll take you to the shore, basically. So little things like that. But yeah, to answer your question, I think that's one of the most difficult places that I've been in, Rio de Janeiro, when finding an apartment, because their apartments are very, very dated, bro. And it's complicated or uncomfortable because in some cases it's really hot and the AC goes out, and you be like, okay, we ain't gonna fix the AC because it's central air. It's not like these little ACs you have in the rooms in DR, like little individual AC units. It's a big centralized AC. And they'd be like, oh, it'll be about 45 days. And you'd be like, how the hell am I going to be out of AC in 100-degree weather for 45 days? Let me see if I can pull that up. Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up.
Man, I see guys trying to roast me about Kazakhstan, man. They roasting Kazakhstan. They roasting my bandana. Y'all, Kazakhstan was really good, man. Like Kazakhstan, man. Y'all say we ain't welcome, but really the guys who don't like us are the guys who aren't getting any women. It's like the ladies there definitely are, they welcome to us, man. Like they definitely accept you with open arms. It's mainly the guys who aren't getting the ladies, but a lot of countries are like that, guys. Like a lot of these countries that maybe they're less developed, or like the local men are kind of poor or whatever. Like we did a whole show on this. Like we showed the video about what happened to Andrew Tate and his brother in Moldova. It's like, those guys are like 6'2", 6'4", professional kickboxers, and the local guys didn't care, man. Like local guys, like, hey, man, you trying to bang our women? Like, get out of here. And that's just how it is in some of these countries, y'all. Yeah, but like the places that most passport bros go to, generally you don't have to worry about that. But for me, I like going to some of those places that are off the beaten path, just to have a different experience sometimes. And sometimes you get into some crazy situations, but that's just how it is, man.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Hold on, I'm trying to pull up this because this is really interesting about Rio. And I actually have a few realtors out there in Rio. That's probably a spot you really got to get a realtor, because they can kind of, if they cool with you, they'll let you know. Tell them, say, hey man, I'm looking for an American standard, which means it's going to be a newer apartment. Actually, believe it or not, Rio is one of the places where the apartments in the favela look damn near just as good as the apartments outside of the favela, because a lot of apartments in the favela are like, some of them are just recently built, right? So like my friend that lives in the favela in the Hosina, his apartment is cool. It's real nice, actually.
Nice.
Okay, let me take that back. It's not like American standard nice, but even though it's like a little like hood, it's still like new, if that makes any sense. Like it's still kind of like, it was still new and fresh. Where is that? I'm trying to find out, because that's why I love Brazil, man. Brazil just gonna have you it's gonna just have you slumming whether you like it or not. Okay, how much money you pay. You know what I'm saying? Where's that shit at, man? Oh my god, I can't find it, bro. I can't find it. Hold on.
This guy's asking me, Danny, why didn't you just get a girl's number? Like, bro, like it was like, so the girls were kind of bomb rushing us, man. Like they were all over us really aggressively. I wasn't really trying, man. I was just watching my friend's back, making sure he was having a good time with the ladies. I wasn't really trying to get no woman myself. Both situations where I got into altercations at the club, the woman approached me first. So I didn't approach her. Like both situations, the women approached me. So and then like a jealous guy, I just kind of got in there, like trying to like, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, man, that's how it is, man.
Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me hold on. You go ahead. I'm almost there, Danny. You can go ahead and answer the trolls if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to see his video, the video he made about me, because like, I'm looking at the comment section for it now. Apparently, I got a lot of people who just don't like me, and they're fans of him. So it's like, I see someone say, "Hey, man, I can't stand that guy." I'm like, "Man, you can't stand me, man. Why you can't stand me? What did I do?" Yeah, man.
Live your life. That's what they can't stand. Just living, bro. Just being alive and living outside the country for the most part.
Yeah, man. Like I'm just traveling, having a good time, and guys saying, "Oh man, I can't stand him." But yeah, man, it is what it is. Kazakhstan was great. I'll go again. We'll see when I go. It's gonna be really cold in the winter. I kind of want to go in this winter just to experience the cold. Just like, I've never really experienced that kind of super cold Russian winter before. I think it could be like an interesting experience. But yeah, man. You guys, I still got content on Kazakhstan I haven't put out. I got so much content of a few different countries I've been to. I got to cut it up and put it out, man. So, it is what it is. Y'all are gonna see, man. I got more people gonna be hating soon, man.
All right, so this is like the little ferry. Turn down a little bit. This is like the little boats I was telling you guys about. This is actually pretty cool when I think about it. I look back on it. So those are all little buildings you can rent. And I think by sometimes they be selling them. They got like a whole community on like this. I don't know if you want to call that a lake or a river. But you take that little boat right there, and keep in mind it's alligators all around too. By the way, fellas. So you come to this little port. That's why I love Brazil, man. Brazil, you just it's. I can't wait to go back, man. Brazil is something else. It's one of them countries that it can really kind of just soak you in. You're not gonna really want to leave after a while. Hold on, let me sort of find another video real quick. Hold on. Okay, this is another one. You can see a little bit better. So I believe that's like a store or a restaurant right there. All right. Right. Like I said, these are the places you can pretty much rent, man. You pretty much rent places like this. Okay. I got another video. Hold on. Let's see if this. Oh, that's the wrong video. Hold on. Let me change that. That's the wrong damn video. Hold up. Hold on, family. Put that out. Damn it. I'll remove this. Okay, there we go. Back to business. All right, man. That's Rio. That's all Brazil, though. That's all Brazil. Okay, guys. All right. So let me see where we at. Where we at now? We
talked about flights. We talked about apartment.
So that's the right
transportation. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about this right here. Now this is a very unexpected, and I want to give a shout out to my man Travelversity, man, because when I was in Brazil, headed to Thailand, he was telling me about all this right stuff. Like I said, it's very important to have boots on the ground in what country you're going to. And he was telling me, he was like, yeah, you got to get a visa every month out there or every 45 days. And I couldn't really fathom. I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, yeah, you got to pay. Like, oh, I was like, because, in South America, they give you 6 months, 3 months, and then you extend it for another 3 months. And the extension might be $15 or it might be free or something like that. In DR, you can kind of stay as long as you want, as long as you pay the fine, they'll let you right back in. But in Thailand, it's much different. So you basically got to pay. I don't know about now, but I know back then you had to pay per month, and that's another expense. So I was basically paying about $45 at one point a month to stay in Thailand.
So just for like the visa overall cost, like that's kind of like the
right.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, I think Thailand $45 a month. I mean, I wouldn't complain about that, honestly. I think that's okay. Yeah, when I look at like the yearly cost, like China has like a 10-year visa, and I think it's like less than 1K or something, right? So I don't know what that averages to, but that's like, that's definitely a lot less than $45 a month. But it's like, if you don't have any better options, it really depends, like, how valuable the country is to you guys. So for me, if I had no other choice and I had to pay $45 a month to stay in Thailand, yeah, I would do it. Why not?
Right, because you got visas like the Muay Thai visa, that's like $1,300. So if you do the math, it's like, okay, I could stay in Thailand and pay for a Muay Thai visa for $1,300 for a year, or I can continue to pay $45, which would be right at $500 a year. So that is a cost, though. Like that is definitely a cost. Then you got to take in border runs. You got to account for your border runs to Cambodia as well. You might get tired of riding the little turnaround van, so you might just say, you know what, the hell with it. I'm going to Laos. I'm going to Cambodia. I'm going to go different little spots so I can get my visa extension or my stamp, and I can come on back in. So it's all types of little, and every country is different. Now, the crazy part about it was a few years ago, it used to be like this. Maybe in Thailand, but I know in Colombia was like DR where you can just stay however long you want. The first time I stayed in Colombia, I stayed for 9 months. So I was over by 3 months. And when I went to leave, they just charged me $125. And I was like, well, how long do I have to stay? And they was like, oh no, you come on back. Just come on right back. We don't care. Now everything is totally different. Now it's like really serious. You definitely don't want to overstay your visa now. What up, Grego? What's good? What's good? All right. All right. So this is another big one, and you can discuss on your end out there in China. This is a real big one. And you was in China during all this COVID stuff too, right?
Yeah, man. I never left during that whole time, like from 2019 to like 2023, was it? Yeah, man. I was in China the whole time. So I saw all the craziness.
Okay. And what about healthcare over there?
Healthcare in China is pretty interesting because we got a hospital here. So let me tell you guys this. Like back in 2018, I had surgery. I had hernia surgery because I had some kind of injury, like some kind of sports injury. So they had to actually cut me open and put a patch on me, etc. for a sports injury. And that time it wasn't expensive really. Like overall, like that kind of surgery in America would cost you a lot. But in China, I paid total less than $2,000 for everything. That's including all the testing, all the etc., like the hospital stay, less than two stacks and I was at like a really high rated hospital, like pretty high quality hospital. One of the top hospitals in the world here is in my city. So and oh yeah, in South Korea, I lived in South Korea for a while. Healthcare there is also pretty inexpensive. It's pretty affordable. Like, I had like dental stuff going on there. Really good stuff. Like Asia healthcare is pretty affordable for the most part. I saw one video the other day. This black guy got braces in Thailand. I can't remember how much he said it was, but it was pretty like inexpensive, like a couple $100s or something. And
$200. I know you're talking about. I play basketball with that dude. Shout out to him.
Yeah. So basically, this kind of stuff is pretty good. So it's nice if I don't know, like if it's like really like an emergency, like you're in like some kind of life or death situation, but healthcare cost over here is definitely better than the States. So like if I had some kind of life-threatening injury, I'd probably take my chances over here in Asia rather than needing to fly all the way back over to America and then be put on some kind of waiting list to pay like $100,000 or something crazy for like a surgery. Over here, you can get that for like a tenth of the price and probably better customer service too.
Right. I think in the DR, the healthcare is a little sketchy. I have international healthcare, but I also have medical insurance here, specifically in the DR. I think that's a thing you want to do. In Brazil, I had like a personal doctor. It was like $80 a month, not a big deal. And I was insured there as well. Thailand has a real good healthcare system. Like if it's nothing too major or anything like that, I think it's pretty affordable. But you do have these companies like Safety Wing that insure pretty much expats. But if you're going to live there, I always suggest getting like a localized insurance too. And also I suggest having like a credit card of like $15,000 or better, just in case they want to charge you, because they will leave you on that floor. If you don't, some of these hospitals are like demonic as hell, bro. It's like the worst thing you ever experience in some of these foreign countries. I've heard stories about DR and Brazil where, you can damn near be dying. If you don't have the money, they won't operate on you. It's not like in America where, they have to, by law operate on you. So you definitely want to have some cash available for you, when you overseas. So healthcare is a real important part, guys. You may want to make sure that, I don't care how young you are, that you got your healthcare situation in order. A lot of times it's actually better than healthcare in America, but you just want to make sure. In some cases, if you have a language barrier, I would definitely try to find hospitals that have like certain areas where an English department in that particular area, because that's going to be very important for you to be able to communicate with that person. That's why when I was in Brazil, shout out to my man Rafael, he put me on to his doctor that I had a personal doctor that spoke English. That way, if something happens to me, I can call them up and they can relay what they need to do. All right. All right. So real quick, before we move to the next one, I want to show you the view of one of the apartments I was looking at in Rio. All right. So this is the view. That apartment was $550 a month, Danny. Look at that.
Hey, BMT though, like those fields out there, man. Like I've seen some videos of like some crazy
right
stuff
there.
going on in like Mexico, and it looks like they're out there in those kind of fields, like the drug lords. You know, you're not worried about like some kind of drug lords like coming through those fields and like hacking you up.
You talking about what fields? This is like a river or something. What fields you talking about?
Those kind of tree areas over there, man, like those kind of forest area back there.
Nah, man. The only thing you got to worry about over there is alligators. They got the alligators out there.
Okay.
They got the little alligators. They supposed to be in a specific area, but they of course animals. They ain't got no fences out there, so you got to be careful. They might roll up on you, but I don't think nobody actually gets hurt or anything like that. But you got to be careful that there snakes and alligators out there. But yeah, that apartment right there was $550 a month. But like I said before, as beautiful as it was, I think it would be a headache. You leaving the club or the bar somewhere, you got to hop on a ferry every time. So that's why I didn't choose that one right there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like how far away from the clubs is it? Because like if you're out there in the forest, I wonder like how far from the nightclubs, man.
It wasn't that bad. Actually, it's not far at all. It's not far at all. Like, as soon as you get off the ferry, I keep saying ferry, but the little mini boat. You get off the mini boat, and the mini boat might be not even 10 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, and the clubs are actually right there. So once you get off the mini boat and walk up the little alley, the clubs are literally across the street, across the highway, right there. Like the major clubs too in Rio.
Cool.
Right. All right. So let's go on to the next one that we have here. This one might be a little touchy right here. This is cultural difference and relationship costs. What we mean by that is, let's just say, it's certain holidays that you don't know about, right? Of course, the different holidays. Interesting enough, there's a Valentine's Day in every country I've been to. That's interesting, right? Like they're gonna have that holiday. Certain holidays like Women's Day in Colombia, and in some cases, not all cases, but in some cases, even if you're dating a woman, it might be expected for you to be financially provided for her family, right? So she might be expecting an allowance, and this is a lot of things that Passport Bros don't really talk about. You know what I mean? Like it's in certain cases, like I don't know how I'm gonna say this without being offensive, bro. Maybe you can say it for me, but their relationships cost basically. If that makes any sense, guys. You catch my drift in the comment section. All right.
Yeah. If we're talking about cost, guys, like here's the thing, y'all. You want to make sure that you're getting what you want from the relationship. And my opinion on this has changed a lot in the past couple of years because I went to Thailand for the first time after COVID. So I had never been to like one of those kind of countries before, like those kind of monger countries before like, before my whole life. Like I lived in China overseas for many years. I was just in these kind of other countries where it's just like a bunch of normal women and it's kind of like middle class. The thing about Korea, China, and Japan, they have a pretty big middle class. So like you have like a lot of normal girls who they can pretty much afford for themselves. Like they're not really in desperate need of money. They can like work and they have access. Like if a girl is beautiful, she has access to rich guys. It's like, over here in China, beautiful women, they have access to rich guys. So they're not really hurting for money, but they will spend your money though. So the thing is, you want to make sure that you're getting the worthwhile value. and that changes per person. So what you consider worthwhile is probably different than what I consider worthwhile. And yeah, yeah, for me, I'm perfectly fine with the whole kind of, spending cash on the woman and like giving her an allowance, et cetera. So I'm pretty fine with that. And look, I never did that before 2023. Like I was just like having kind of normal like boyfriend girlfriend relationships with women for most of my life. And then like, going to Thailand, you kind of get a taste of something different. So yeah, it's like for me, I actually think I like it more because it kind of gives me another point of leverage. Like, being able to be the breadwinner and have the woman need you for that, it does give you more value to the woman. And the more value that you give the woman, the more value you can ask for in return. So that's something to keep in mind.
It's interesting, man, because I don't know if you saw that live interview I did with Anton Daniels. And this was like this is when the interview went left. Shout out to my man Anton Daniels. And he was like, man, you can't, you guys, this, that, and the other about that's tricking, and I ain't giving that woman nothing. And I'm like, well, sometimes in these cultures, it's expected for the man to be a provider, and the family feels like, okay, she could be doing something else, but she's with you. So instead of her working, and I actually had a conversation about this with a friend of mine last night, actually, about what the women are doing, and you guys just want them just to cook and clean and all that. And I'm like, well, technically speaking, if she's helping you make videos, if she's cooking and cleaning for you, if she's taking care of you, then in essence, she is somewhat of an employee if she's not working for somebody else. And that's kind of the norm out there to a certain degree. And some women actually prefer to kind of just be around a men all day and take care of what they know how to take care of, right? To play their position within the relationship. So that's one of the things that in our American culture, we kind of look at that as, oh, you tricking, or you this, that, and the other. But over there, you just being pretty much a provider.
Yeah, I saw the Anton Daniels video. It seemed like it went left when you were talking about the dowry thing. Like for him, he was kind of like pretty opposed to like paying a dowry. And like, here's the thing, guys. I feel like there is a good amount of pandering going on because like I've been watching these videos, right? Guys were talking about, man, like I made a video recently about this dating coach. He's like, giving guys advice like, hey, like go for the woman who you don't have to do nothing for her. She's just gonna be on you. You don't have to pay for nothing. You don't have to do nothing. The woman just likes you automatically. And you're not gonna get really high quality women that way unless you're like really, really, really attractive. Like for the average guy, if you're not doing anything for the woman, you should not expect for the woman to like you. A lot of guys got it twisted. They think they can just like be like a beautiful woman. Like, hey, I'm the beautiful woman. Women should like chase after me. And that's not usually the situation for most guys, unless you're in certain countries and certain areas where like the women there are really desperate and poor, and like, any sloppy guy who walks up with a passport is like considered high status. But in most normal women, you can't really pull that kind of leverage like, hey, I'm the beautiful woman, you should chase after me kind of thing. So if you're not providing for the woman, or you're not giving her some kind of value, you should not expect for the woman to like just like, chase after you like, oh, like you're so special. Like, no, like you got to do something for her, man. You got to do something, say something, provide something, and then that'll get the woman ready to reciprocate some value. Like, don't just expect to do nothing.
It's interesting, man, because when I listen to some of these dating gurus, I hear a lot of surface level, I guess you want to call it game. They're really talking about how to attract women in clubs and bars and, stuff like that. And I'm like, it's a big difference in a woman being sexually attracted to you and hooking up with you fairly quickly and having a long-term relationship over, let's just say, a year or so. Like it's different. Like it's different levels to it. Like women are a little bit complicated than what most men think on the surface, because they think like, oh, I'm smashed. You know what I'm saying? I got her. It don't work that way. Real relationships take time, man. And when you're dealing with a cultural barrier, in some cases a language barrier, it could be more hurdles than average, but you're still better off doing that than dealing with some of the stuff you got to deal with in the matrix, regardless, right? So you have to just really, it's almost like you both parties have to put the relationship first, like almost like an entity within itself, right? You want things to work, she wants things to work, and sometimes you just got to make sure you're able to communicate with each other and be open, because in my experience, and I'm not saying all Asian women are the same, I'm just saying like they're a little bit more passive aggressive than the Latina woman, whereas the Latina woman, I tell you right in the there what her issue is. She's upset at you. She's going to blow up on you. You know what I'm saying? She's going to do all that. She's going to be up in your face. She's going to be speaking Spanish at a million miles an hour. Whereas the Asian woman, and I'm just saying that just in general, just giving general, it's more like they're not going to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? But, they're less combative, basically. But they're still very, very upset at you. So it might come out all at one time or something where she get a little too drunk or something and she start throwing things or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just certain things. That's what I say about relationships, man. You better out getting advice from people that have been married, long-term relationships or whatever, than dating coaches online and stuff. But they really just telling you surface level. Listen, everybody gets burnt in a real relationship. I don't give a fuck. Everybody gets burnt. You in there 5, 10 years, 20 years. She ain't stepped out at some point. You ain't stepped out at some point. That's just the fucking reality. You know what I'm saying? We think everything is peaches and cream. That's why I be laughing. I be like, when I hear people like Austin, 23, 24, I just be like, people actually listening to him in concerns of relationships with women. I just be sitting here like, no, bro. Like, he's a fucking kid. He don't know anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know that half of it. He don't know. You're not going to know unless you experience it or you've been through it or somebody's kind of coaching you through it, right? Because women have different emotions. Like when you're speaking to a woman, you're speaking to her emotions. But in general, I see a lot of guys speaking like they're speaking to a man. I'm like, nah, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you pissed. That's why I love these podcasts. Because when I listen to these podcasts and I listen to the back and forth, and it goes viral because the men are looking at it like, oh, she's just so unreasonable. But in her eyes, she's right because her reason is emotion. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it don't have to be logical in her eyes. It's what she's feeling at the time. So of course it's going to sound stupid to us, but to women, it sounds right because it's in their emotional cylinders. I don't mean to go all off tangent, but all I'm trying to say is it's already difficult to have a relationship with anybody. It could be even more difficult to have a relationship with somebody that's in a different culture because you got to really be able to communicate. And she has to be open enough to tell you, hey, I like this holiday. So we're going to have to go here to this holiday. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean. I didn't mean to get too attention. Shout out to my man, the homie sub with $2 super chat. Says, I emailed you, bro. Let's do a show. Did you email? What email did you email? Did you email blackmentravels@gmail.com? All right.
Hey, I see James here. Oh yeah, me and James, we hung out at Kickin' Chicken in Pattaya a few days ago. Tommy,
save face. That's right, James. They want to save face.
Yeah. Gave us that special. What was it? Pancake hamburger. Yeah, Tommy hooked us up with that pancake hamburger, man. It was pretty good, and those hot honey wings, man. Those hot honey wings were kicking, man. I love that, man.
All right. VP services blowing up on you, throwing things. I thought they don't like that. I thought they were submissive.
Nah, man. These girls get wild, man. When women get here's the thing, y'all. I think studies say that women initiate domestic violence more than men, right? It's like I think based off like the study.
Give me 1 second. Go ahead.
Okay, I think I've seen a couple studies that say like women, they get more violent in a relationship. Like they initiate the violence more faster than a man. Like in popular culture, they like to say like, oh, men are the ones who are out here smacking their wives around. But I think the data shows that a lot of women are the ones who like initiate that the violence in the relationship. Sometimes, a lot of the times, a lot more often actually. So yeah, man, like throwing things like this is why like a lot of men want to avoid close relationships with women, because for women, the closer you are to them, like the more emotionally attached a woman is to you, the more crazy she's gonna get whenever like you hurt her feelings or something. Like that's one of the reasons why, a lot of guys say, hey man, I want the woman to fall in love with me. But like actually, after the woman falls in love with you, she's gonna get a lot more crazy. In the beginning of a relationship, things are really nice because it's pretty casual and like you're having fun, you and the woman are hooking up. But after the woman gets emotionally attached to you, she gets a lot more sensitive to everything you do and everything you say. So yeah, you got these situations where like, the woman might get crazy, start throwing things like I hate you, da da da. That's what women do when they're freaking in love with a guy. They go crazy when that guy hurts their feelings or something. So that's why a lot of guys are like, hey man, I just having a girlfriend or a wife is too stressful, man. I'd rather just, throw some cash around whenever I'm looking for some action. But it's up to you, man.
Yeah, I know guys who've been married 20, 30 years. You can't pay them to get married again. That's why I be saying, like, guys be talking about relationships like they know what they're talking about. And I'm like, you too young. You don't know anything, bro. Like, you don't know the hills and valleys you got to go through within a relationship with a woman. Any woman. I don't care where she's from. All right? I don't care where she's from, bro.
Yeah.
Let me catch a super chat real quick by my man T-Mac. Shout out my man T-Mac, always showing support with $10 super chat, man. I really appreciate that. He says, I was married to a Japanese woman and don't believe that submissive myth. Once they get that ring or have your kid, they change. The Japanese woman I had a relationship with spoke their mind 12 years. All right. So what you guys say about that flight?
Yeah, like I don't really believe this
you
whole.
out here telling lies, brother. You out here selling dreams.
Hey, you're never gonna hear me say that when like beautiful women are submissive. I don't know where guys. You're never gonna hear me say that. Like I think that you can. My thing is you can get a better deal with women overseas, like a better relationship deal. Now, does that mean that the woman's gonna like, you snap your finger, she's gonna do whatever you say? I don't think so. That hasn't been my experience. Like not with beautiful women. I just think that you can get a better deal. You can get more kind of equal level of respect, and you can kind of you have more power and leverage to get like the kind of relationship you want. But I never this whole like submissive woman thing. I've been living in Asia for like over 10 years now, over 10 years. I think that's a myth. I'm not sure how it got started. Maybe like these Asian women, they're pretty good at playing that game. I think a lot of women like they play, right? Like in the beginning, like with Asian women especially, they play like they're like kind of submissive and like they're so in love with you, they'll do everything. But over time, it's kind of like T Mac is saying, like as soon as the woman gets some power and leverage over you, like she like has your kid, or like she's legally tied to you, or she's in charge of your bank account, she's in charge of your money or your business, I think it's just human nature, right? It's human nature, like the more power you have over somebody, maybe you respect them less. I think it's just kind of human nature. And women, that's just how they are, man. You give them some power over you, and like they might abuse that power.
Yeah, man, you definitely got to stay in your masculine frame. I want to give a shout out to my man, Wonderful Travels, always showing support to the show. I appreciate the $10 super chat, man. Just BMT, the passport, bro, effect is real. I don't think you quite realize the impact you guys are making here in the States. Was in Vegas for Labor Day, and it was dead. Hashtag Passport Bros app. Shout out to my man, Wonderful Travels in the building. Yeah, man, we definitely making an effect. We're definitely making an effect. Homie says, I emailed you. Let's do a show. All right. But no, you're absolutely correct, Danny. I believe you're absolutely correct. In a lot of cases, you are in a better situation overseas. And I'm going to tell you one of the main reasons. This might be a little bit offensive. Hopefully this don't go viral or nothing like that. But it's the fact that it's not really any age gap issues. Like in America, one of the most messed up things in the world is you're expected to date women. As an older man, you actually expected to date older women. And I'm like, we could be best friends. And I be seeing some of the comments that these women be making and some of the videos these women be making, on Facebook, all these little hateful videos they be making and how sour they are at, men and everything. I just be like, yeah, of course she's going to be like that. She's 45, 43, 42. Like they've already lived that life. They're done. Where we're just kind of getting started. That's very true about us. You really just getting started in your 30s and 40s as a man. You kind of coming into your own, knowing who you are. Hopefully your resources is getting better. It's just you kind of coming in. And the cool thing about being overseas is you're going to be dating women in their 20s, right? So that matches up pretty well that you're together, you're established, you know what you got going on, you know who you are, you know how to maintain, and you've made your mistakes in relationships. So now, first of all, the biggest thing is as you get older, you know how to pick them, right? Like I know how to pick them now. Before I didn't know how to pick them because then nobody tell me how to pick them. You know what I'm saying? They were just like, oh, you got a girl, that's your girl, okay, cool. But now it's like, oh, she's not like, I know by type. You got to know. Once you know your type as a man, somewhere the battle is not over, but it's, choosing the right one. Because most guys in the States is just looking for looks. And I'm like, bro, that's going to lead you down a real dark road. Trust me. It's going to lead you down a dark road, bro. You're not looking at how she was raised or, how she looks at the world, how she visualizes that world. Is she a good person overall? Or is she just a bad person? You know what I'm saying? It's funny, man, because it's so much misinformation. And we're going to move on to the next subject, or next category, but it's so much misinformation and concerns of relationships with men and women. Like when I hear certain things like Andrew Tate, and people love Andrew, and I got a lot of love for Andrew too, but he's like, just you get muscles, buy a Bugatti, be 6 foot, do all this stuff, and she's gonna love you, dude. She doesn't love you. She doesn't care about you. It's what you can provide, dude. And I'm sitting here like in my head, I'm just like, man, that's your narrative. That's what works for you. You can't tell me women don't love because I just sat there and saw a couple on the Malecon that were older, and she was willing that old man around, her little husband around. So if there's some type of love there, why is it that dudes that have way less than you have? One of the reasons is how you choose them.
Hey, BMT, your Wi-Fi is going out.
Okay, we back. You there? You froze?
You froze up for a second, I think. Am I froze?
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. Let me see. Am I froze?
No, you good. But
yeah. You froze up after like you were saying like wheeling him around, and what'd you say after like she was wheeling him around, and et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean there is genuine love, right, from a woman. You can achieve that. I mean, it's kind of, I ain't gonna say it's rare, but you can if you choose the right woman, man, and you can have a meaningful relationship because that's the way this was set up. And I know, like, you hear a lot of these dating coaches giving these harsh assessments of women, and for a lot of it, it is true. But relationships take time, dedication, sacrifice, and going through things together. You see what I'm saying? Like you can't tell me that our grandparents were married 50, 60 damn years and they didn't love each other. She was only with him for his money or something, or his status. And like, that's a whole bunch of superficial shit that runs out in a few years. This is why so many celebrities get divorced and shit. It's not about money. It's not about your status. It's not about your Bugatti. It's not about your cars. It's about life experiences with somebody, going through shit. She gets sick, because I don't care how pretty she is. At some point, she's going to be old, ugly, get sick. Who's going to be there for her? Somebody that was been around her for the whole duration of her life. So, we can go deep into that, but just watch what you internalize online, because there's a lot of superficial, surface level conversations about women and women overseas and all that good stuff. Just watch who you internalize overseas, because they're not all super hypergamous creatures. They are, but they're not. If that makes any sense. All right. Let's go to the next category, because we spent all day on that. All right, food and dining. This is a pretty simple one. It's much cheaper in at least 60% of countries overseas that we like to go to. It's much cheaper.
Yeah,
How
definitely.
much would you say your monthly bill is on food?
Okay, so it's interesting for me, guys. 'Cause I cook now. 'Cause I try to follow a diet where I eat the same thing almost every day. Um, Basically, I cook fish and then I order like a chicken salad. So I order takeout almost every day when I'm bulking, just for like chicken salad and like chicken salad. Let me see. If I'm eating at like a fancy, like high quality chicken salad,
My bad. Go ahead, bro.
$15 at the most. Like for a chicken salad, there's probably 2 servings. So that's like what, $7 a day, $8 a day per salad. Pretty good, man. Yeah, and
Hold on,
fish, fruit.
go ahead, bro. I'm laughing at this thumbnail, bro. I'm sorry. This is hilarious. That nigga's hilarious, bro. Hold on. We're gonna get back to it, fellas. I gotta pull this up. Matter of fact, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, but basically, oh yeah, when I was in Thailand, man, bruh, it's hard to beat Thailand when it comes to food, y'all. Like fresh fish every day, man. Fresh fish for like not expensive, like a few dollars.
Mhm.
Man, like, that's one of the main reasons I kind of want to move to Thailand, because just the food quality is just so much better than China. Like, China has like a lot of sketchy stuff. Like, you got to go to like the nice restaurants. You can't go to like the crappy restaurants. You can, but it's like you're kind of taking a risk, right? The rich people in China, they do sometimes go like the normal restaurants, but it's like if you're getting money, don't risk it going to like kind of cheap restaurants where the ingredients are kind of sketchy. So you kind of want to like spend the money on higher quality. Like when I talk about ordering salads, they got a cheesecake factory. Cheesecake Factory is right down the street from me, a Chinese cheesecake factory. So I can order salads from there, $15 a pop, and the ingredients are going to be pretty high quality. So for me, it's worth it. Yeah, y'all. So not expensive, but Thailand is probably some of the best quality food in Asia, in Japan also. So yeah.
I gotta say that the food here where I'm at, and that's very true about Thailand, but the food here is super expensive in the DR, bro. The food bill is expensive all across the island, I would say, at least in San Domingo. As a matter of fact, I think they do like Uber Eats by areas here, because a female was telling me, she was just like, why would I order KFC here? It's more expensive here than when I'm at home. So they do that little regional pricing too. Like, so the area I'm in, we're paying $1 or $2 more than other areas. So the food is expensive. Like the food is on par. Shopping for food here is on par with buying food online. Basically, it's both expensive. But in general, I pretty much eat something similar to like chicken and salad, stuff like that. Something real basic if my girl don't cook or something like that. But pretty much chicken, rice. Going out is pretty moderate to expensive. I think I went out a couple of weeks ago and we bought basic chicken, chicken fajitas for two. That was like 40, 45, 50, almost $50. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little bit more expensive right there. All right, let's go through this. So we got savings and a financial plan. All right. So basically, in savings and financial planning, guys, it's your preparation before you move overseas. Right. I had everything pretty much together as far as my healthcare. I had consultations. I moved to Colombia. I had a little network down there already previously because I was visiting there, but you definitely want to have some form of a financial plan. For example, you want to have, if you know that they want 3-4 times the rent, you want that set aside before you even get there. As a matter of fact, you want to visit frequently before you make that final move. So you know what area you want to stay in, what apartment building you want to stay in, how much they want. Some guys can wing it, but I do believe you should have like some form of financial plan. You have your savings together right there too. I know I had all my stuff together, but I was a little older when I left the States. I know you was kind of young when you left. Did you have everything planned when you left? Like, did you have your financial plan, or you were just more like, I'm out of here?
Man, I left America when I was like 22, man. I was just I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know that I would still be. Yeah, man, I didn't know that I would still be like this whole passport bro thing. I didn't know this would be my life. Like 10 years later, I'm still overseas, man. Like I had no idea. I was just like, I'm getting out of here. I want to like, go meet some pretty ladies overseas. I want to escape Arkansas, because I was in Arkansas, y'all, and like that Arkansas life plan, I was not very excited about that. I was not excited about, being in a small town, getting a woman pregnant, being stuck in America, et cetera, et cetera. I was not happy about that. I was like, I got to get out of here. So I just said, hey, I'll get out of here and I'll figure it out as I go. And it's been working out pretty well for me. But yeah, in terms of savings, so I've been doing English teaching for the past 10 years. And most English teachers, you can stack like a couple thousand a month pretty easily without needing to work too hard. Yeah, savings.
Did you have that English teaching lined up before you left the States?
Yeah. Basically, I graduated and then I started looking for jobs. Basically, as soon as I graduated and I got my degree. And so back then, online teaching wasn't a thing. Like pretty much the main option was teaching in person. Now you can teach online and you don't really need a degree, or you don't need all this kind of paperwork. But back then I did. So but it took me like maybe less than a month, like a few weeks of just looking for a job. And after that, I just kind of sent all my paperwork. I mailed it over there. And yeah, I was like, I found a decent job. I was like, hey, good enough. Like, look, if you're trying to get overseas, guys, finding your perfect job, that's great. But for me, I wanted to get the heck out of the States. So for me, I found a job that was good enough to like kind of check most of the boxes. And I was like, all right, I'm out of here. Like I'm getting on that plane. I'm not waiting for some BS to pop up that could ruin me going overseas. So just keep that in mind. You can always iterate and improve over time, but really kind of just want to get overseas and like get overseas, and then you can figure everything else out. And yeah, that's what I did. So yeah, so I had a job lined up.
I might ask you this before, so forgive me, brother, but like, was it you traveling with your family? Because you was already traveling growing up as a kid, right? You was already traveling overseas. So is that what made you want to get the hell on so much more?
Yeah, I mean, my mom is military, so when I was a kid, I lived in Germany for like 4 years, from like the age of 2 to 6. I came back to America when I was 6. My whole life, my mom lived in South Korea for like 4 or 5 years. So growing up inside my home, we had all kind of like Korean stuff, and I just grew up seeing that. And my mom always told me, like, ever since I was a little kid, my mom always told me, like, hey, you should travel to South Korea. You should travel to South Korea. And when I was in university, lots of beautiful Korean ladies were at my university. So I was like, hey, maybe I should travel to South Korea, because like these Korean women look way more interesting than these Arkansas women. And yeah, basically, being in Arkansas, I see some people in the chat group, they know about Arkansas. They kind of know that it's not that fun. So yeah, for me, I was like, heck yeah, I want to get out of here. I want to see the world. I don't really fit in with this kind of small town Arkansas mindset. You guys can see I'm kind of like a weird guy. I'm kind of like, one of those kind of creative weird guys. So fitting into like conservative Arkansas doesn't really fit me. So I need to like go someplace else where I can be kind of express myself and just explore. And like, so going to Asia, and like South Korea was my first stop. And, after that, it was China. And I've stayed in China for almost 10 years now. So I think I made a pretty good decision.
Nice. All right. So lifestyle choices. This is a big one. Right here. Lifestyle choices. Now, me personally, I have witnessed guys kind of lose themselves overseas. I don't know about you, Danny, but I've known guys that have gotten hooked up on drugs in Colombia. I've known guys that when I first met them, they had it all together, mentally and everything. And they was in Thailand, drinking every day, partying every day. And it's just, I don't care how together you have it, unless you're just really, really wealthy or a trust fund kid or something like that, it's really easy to lose your financial footing if you're drinking every day. You know what I'm saying? If you're doing something that's counterproductive every day, and I know some guys that smoke weed every day and they fine, right? I admire guys that can smoke weed as soon as they get up in the morning, they smoking, going to bed, they smoking. I can't smoke, you know what I'm saying? Never liked it anyway, but, that lifestyle choice is really important. I was telling you earlier before we started the show, you discussed, making that move. I don't know if you want to say, but yeah, making that move. I said, man, you will be good because you already have your discipline. You already have your footing overseas. But I see it all the time. Like when guys, them first few months, it just be, running around, wilding out. In Colombia, guys move out there and they get drugged and stuff like that. So it's just like it's a lot. It's a lot, but your lifestyle choices, this the thing. And I experienced a little bit of this myself. When I first moved overseas for a time, I was partying with guys that were constantly coming into town. Right?
Mm.
So every weekend I got Jay Clyde coming through, my boy Grego coming through, or Brangier coming this week, this week. So every, and I looked at my finances one day, I was just like, damn, I spent this much money this month. That's because I have to adjust to actually living overseas and say, wait a minute, I got to learn how to say, hey, bro, I'm chilling tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is y'all vacation, so y'all on vacation mode, but I live here. So I can't live like I'm on vacation every weekend, basically. So that's what they mean by lifestyle choices. If you're living somewhere in Thailand, it's difficult not to go out because everybody's out and partying all over the place. But you got to learn how to sit your ass down and live a regular lifestyle at some point, or it's going to just eat through your finances.
Yeah. I see some people they giving the experience of like going overseas and blowing money. Yeah, y'all, like especially in Thailand and like Pattaya, like Pattaya is designed to suck the money out of your wallet. It's like literally, it's designed for men. It's like a paradise for men. So it's like if you don't have self-control, you go over there.
Holidays a year.
Yeah. It's like, it's you gotta have some kind of discipline. For me, I'm an introvert, guys. I'm an introvert, so it's really easy for me to just stay inside all day. When I was in Thailand, I did that for a while. I spent the summer in Thailand. I had a couple days or a couple weeks where I just stayed inside, and I only went outside just to go to the gym. So I'm able to do that pretty easily. A lot of guys aren't. So for me, I can live near the crazy party areas, and I don't feel temptation to like go out every night. But for some guys, it's and plus I don't drink. For me, I spend money on food. Food is my drug. So like for me, when I see some pepperoni pizza, I was at Tree Town the other night, named Bronx Pizza Man. I love me some pizza, man. So but yeah, if you don't have too many vices, too many negative things that you're addicted to, you can survive in some of these places. But if you're the kind of person who's like, you have an addictive personality, you might need to play it safe and probably stay away from all the fun.
That's facts. That's facts, man. Shout out to my man J.K. Perkins with $2 super chat. He said, "You judge all of America on small town Arkansas."
I'm not sure how you got that interpretation. For me, I just didn't want to get stuck in like Arkansas. I wasn't really interested in going anywhere else in America. I moved around a lot as a kid. Like I lived in Georgia for a while, different states in Georgia, and then we moved to Arkansas. I just was I wanted to get out of there. And yeah, man. I mean, I'm sure there are some places. A lot of guys. I mean, America is great for making money, and there are some guys who they look at the lifestyle that we're living overseas, and they think we're crazy for going overseas the way we are. But for me, I think it's crazy. I couldn't imagine like staying in America, like based like the life I've been living the past 10 years. I just don't see guys who stay in the States who are living a comparable lifestyle that like say, hey man, I wish I did what that guy's doing. Pretty much everybody I tell about my life, most of them they wish they're doing what I'm doing. So yeah.
Okay, shout out man. Excuse me, my man T Max says my dates are Netflix and Rappi from my apartment in Laurelis. I don't even drink. Man, that not drinking saves you a ton of money, man. It saves you a ton of money. Trust me. J-Rad sold Fiesta with the Colombian peso, 20 mil. Man, I really appreciate that. My brother always showing support. He's also on the Passport Bros app. He's also a very popular DJ out there in Medellin. So, guys, make sure to follow him and check him out. All right, he's always posting events on the Passport Bros app. He says, I recommend moving to places that fit your personality. If you have no hobbies or passions, you will be bored of simply chasing women. That is very true. All right. Jerry Boney says, "Fast, bro, blowing money fast." All right. All right. So the next category is safety and security. All right. So that's really important. Now I gotta pull up my man Omar real quick. Now this is a hold on, where we at? Now this is the apartment right here for $150 a month, like a 3-bedroom. You guys check this apartment out. Shout out to my man Omar. He was on the show last week sometime. He was, of course, drugged and robbed in Medellin, Colombia. But you do have apartments that are very cheap overseas. This apartment is $150, but it's reported that it's not a super safe area, but he says he has no issues. All right. So let's look at a little bit of the apartment. All right. Nice little spacious apartment. Okay. Great view. You can see he's kind of like, in that type of area. Might be in a strata 1 or 2. So this is one thing you got to also account for as a passport bro cost. If you don't mind, and shout out to my man Omar. Omar was just like, dude, I've been living in the hood my whole life. So it's nothing to me. I don't care where I'm at. I like being in the hood. You got some guys like that. Me, I'm not like that. Me, I like to be, I like to be in nice areas and shit. I like to be in nice metropolitan college areas for the most part. All right. But your safety is what matters. And in a lot of cases, when you live in Poblado and stuff, even though it's not technically safe in Poblado, when you live in these certain areas, it should be deemed to be a little safer. Okay. Now, I think China is pretty safe wherever you at in China, though, right? They got that shit under control out there.
Yeah, like I never feel unsafe in China, y'all. You pretty much don't. It's like a non-issue. Like whatever neighborhood you go to, I can go out at any time of night. I don't have to watch behind my back or nothing. Basically, in most of Asia, honestly, safety is like a non-issue. I can't think of any time where I'm like, oh man, I gotta watch my back out here, man. I've heard in the Philippines, like they maybe you might get robbed or something because some people might have guns or something, but it's like it seems like it's so rare. It doesn't seem like it's much of a concern on this side of the world.
You know what's funny, man? When I was in Cambodia, they were telling me that a woman had won. They got casinos in Cambodia, and a woman had won like $20,000 or something, $20,000. It was quite a bit of money, and she went to the bathroom, and somebody actually deleted her, right? And stole the money. They ended up catching the guy, but you gotta be careful in some of these countries, man. You just never know. You just never know. Even in Asia, like Cambodia is not known as the safest, and some of the women out there steal from you too. So you gotta be careful no matter where you at, man. Boris says the hood got a feedback from coming from somewhere. The hood got all the real women. The rich areas have all the scammers. The middle class areas, those women not talking to you. You know what, man? You might be right, especially now when you say that. I'm gonna say specifically, Rio is definitely like that in Rio. When I'm in them bougie ass areas, the girls won't even look your way for the most part. But if you're in a favela, they definitely gonna be checking for you. You just gotta make sure she's not a favela boss girlfriend or something like that. All right. So then that's the end of the show, man. We did all the cost of being a passport bro, guys. So make sure that check that out. But before we go, I gotta pull this up. I'm not gonna pull up the video unless you want to talk about the video, Danny. But I saw this thumbnail here, bro. And hold on, let me pull this up real quick. Hey, I gotta admit, this little clown is funny, man. Hold on, where we at? Hold on, what is that? All right, I'm gonna let you get yours off with real quick, man. What's up with this thumbnail, bro? You see that? Hold on.
Oh man, he's clowning us, man. I mean, I don't know what to say, man.
Clowning you.
Clowning me. Hey, I mean, it is what it is, man. Like the Kazakh goons, man, they ran up on us, man. Yeah, sometimes you get caught lacking, man. You get caught lacking, and some guys they get aggressive out there, man.
But you're gonna try to strike it, so I ain't even gonna play it. But
Yeah,
That's just funny.
it's fun. Yeah, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch it. See, like if he makes some good jokes about me. I got a sense of humor, guys. Like, I don't care. Like people make fun of me all the time. Like I think it's funny when I see hate comments, like under the comment section of the video, people talking about, man, I hate that guy, man. I'm glad you made a video about him. I'm like, man, who are you, man? Why you hate me? Like, but anyway, hey y'all, it is what it is, man. But Kazakhstan, man, I got more content on the way, y'all. I know the haters gonna hate them and say, hey man, why are you promoting that country, man? I'm promoting it because it's a great country, man.
Good point. Good point. Well, Dan, that's been an excellent show today, bro. We definitely got to do this again. We pretty much do our little show at least once a week. So, man, make sure you tune in. Check out Flight Matters channel. He got a really dope channel, man. Love his channel. He also posts content on the Passport Bros app as well. We got our own little community out there. If you really want to get real information, that we constantly updating it. We got another major update coming in the next few months, but this month we just updated it as well. So make sure you download the Passport Bros app. And Danny, you actually teach guys how to make money teaching classes. You want to give yourself a shout out about that, or your business a shout out? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So everybody, I help guys find jobs with English teaching. Basically, one of my guys found 2 jobs recently with online teaching. So I've been helping guys a lot with online teaching recently. And like if you want to get overseas, y'all, like English teaching is the fastest way that I've seen. It's probably the fastest way besides the military to get overseas making consistent money. And yeah, I've been doing it for like 10 years now, and the money's still coming. It's more money than ever. So I highly recommend it if you want to be over here having these crazy adventures, that people make videos about, getting that English teaching. And you can always transition later, like get overseas with a, easy job or something, and then you can like transition to something else. That's my goal. That's what I've been doing. So yeah.
I got a question there for you, Danny.
Do you need your TEFL certificate? It helps. It helps. But they're not difficult to get, man. They're not difficult to get. I recommend one to guys. It takes less than 2 weeks. Costs like $34. Don't be out here spending, like, I know some guy, I think who was it? It was like this guy, he commented earlier, like Jerry or something.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, I think Jerry did a consultation with me, and he talked about he spent like crazy money on a TEFL certification. I was like, bro, if you had paid for my consultation ahead of time, you could have saved yourself hundreds of dollars. And yeah, anyway, English teaching, y'all, I recommend it. Get you overseas, making some money. Yeah, Jerry said, yeah, that was him.
Okay, then. All right. So, all right, guys, once again, excellent show. Peace. We out.
See you.